Welcome back to the channel, guys. In this week's video, we're gonna be talking about the suburb of Hornsby Heights. So we're gonna be looking at a lot of different aspects in the suburb. So first thing, we're gonna have a look at population forecast, some of the drivers of population and what caused the change in the suburb and also around the local government area. How does the housing supply sort of looks like in the next few years? We're going to have a look at some of the infrastructure, money being spent in the area, some of the statistics, and also what opportunities you should be looking in the suburb if you're looking to buy something in the area, and also some of the potential deals that are available right now that we can use to have a look at and give you some ideas of which deals potentially have an upside or not. So let's dive in and let's start having a look at the data now. The first thing that we will check is the population growth. Population is a key factor for pricey dwellings to go up. So in this case, the Hornsby Shire Council is forecasted to grow 12.85% over the next 14 years, which is a decent growth for a very well-established area. But if you look at Hornsby Heights in specific, which we're looking here, you can see that the population growth is a lot less. So we're looking at a lot less population growth, and that's because it's a very well-established suburb, and the type of dwelling that you see in this suburb is houses, and you don't see medium to high density type of dwellings where you can start suddenly adding a lot more population into smaller spaces. The other thing that I like about this website is it gives a lot of information about the migration patterns and where the population comes from. So this is a few years old, and I think they will be refreshing this data once the data from the new census sort of becomes available. But this is probably still relevant. So you can see that the population growth comes majority from overseas people establishing themselves in the area. There is also some influx from people that live in the Parramatta City Council moving across to the Hornsby Shire. In the same way, population is lost to other areas such as the Central Coast and the Hills Shire in higher numbers, and other areas a little bit less. The other key point that is worthwhile mentioning here is the housing supply, and I think this is a very good information. So you can see where the new housing for the LGA is going to be made available. And you can see the majority of the new dwellings is coming from the Hornsby Town Centre, and that's probably on the back of a lot of new medium and high density dwellings. In Asquith and Waitara, the same thing, a lot of new medium to high density dwellings, and there is probably a bit of balance still in Hornsby surroundings. Sherrybrook, again, on the back of the new train line going up to the northwest. There is a lot of rezoning around the train stations. The Mount Colin Kuringaya as well. There is a lot of new medium density buildings. So houses, there is no new land releases. So if you're looking to buy a house within the area, the supply will remain very similar as opposed to some of those new dwellings that most likely is going to be units. And that tells you that housing in the area is always going to be in short supply. So now we look at the infrastructure. In the council's website, you can actually get a lot of information. So you can see, and I'm not going to go through all the nitty-gritty of all the major projects that we have in the area, but I just want to highlight a couple of things in here. So as you know, the North Connects is being operational for probably about a year. And it's a major piece of infrastructure for the area, connecting the upper North Shore to the northwest and other areas of Sydney. So there is a lot of money has been spent in this. Going a little bit further, also there is the Northwest Rail Link that is a significant piece of infrastructure investment as well. In probably a bit more closer to Hornsby Heights, which is the suburb that we're having a look, is there has been some major plans in there to revitalizing the area with the Hornsby quarry that's going to be transformed into a park with multi-purpose, with sporting fields and a lot of areas for families to enjoy. So that's going to be a really nice new park in the area. And there's a whole bunch of other things here happening in the suburbs around. So this is a very good source of information. So now we look at some statistics in Hornsby Heights. You can see the entry-level, medium price, and high-end price for 3, 4, and 5 bedroom houses. And there is a quite big variance between medium and high-end in when you look at 4 and 5 bedroom houses, and you're going to go through that in a second. You can also see the medium rent for typical 3 and 4 bedroom houses. There is not much data on rental for 5 bedrooms, so we can't really capture that information. Like any suburb in Sydney, the yields are very low because of the price and the rental return that you get out of them. The 3 bedroom houses tend to sell a lot quicker than 4 and 5 bedrooms. And this is the volume of properties sold in this year and how many up for sale right now. Population is really well spread. A lot of people work full time, and the typical dwelling is houses. There is a couple of semi-detached terraces and townhouses, but the majority of the dwellings in the suburb are houses, as I was saying earlier. Configuration, 4 bedrooms or more is the clear winner in there. However, there are some 3 bedroom houses in there as well. We'll now look at some of the stats. So our application is currently rating the suburb at 60%. So when we look at auction clearance data, that's still selling quite well. The days on market, it is coming down a little bit. I believe the market is cooling, but still selling. Stock on market still look very tight. There is not much discount happening in the area. Yields are not that high, which means that the rating is not really good on rental yield. In terms of vacancy rates, is very tight, so there is not many properties available for rent. The proportion of renters is very small, and I'll show you the data that also in a second. The number of properties sold at the moment has dropped compared to the number of properties available for sale, and the growth in the area has been quite good in the past 3 years, aligned with the population forecast for the LGA. You can see that trend has been up, and maybe there is a bit of a decline there on the medium. So we should expect some softening on the back of interest rate rise, but this has been the trend for the past 3 years. Looking some of the other data, the number of sold properties has declined for the past quarter. The stock on market still relatively low, but just coming back up a little bit in comparison to last year, but it's still below what it was a couple of years ago. It's still well below 1%. Days on the market, there is a bit of seasonality in there, so you can see that in the quarter, spring, it tends to probably take a little bit longer to sell the property, and that comes down as the quarters progress, and again spring and keep on going through that seasonality. In terms of vacancy rates, it's very tight, 0.3%. All right, so let's have a look at some of the opportunities for upside, analyzing the data that we have available to us. I think the key opportunity there is for either first home buyers or people looking to upgrade or downside their house and looking to get into a house in the area. As an investment, the rental yields are not very attractive, so I believe the opportunity is really for home buyers. Looking at the data, especially again looking at the medium and the high end, we can see there is a big variation on 4 bedroom and 5 bedroom houses. So you can see 44 and 39% variation between the medium and the high end for 4 bedrooms and 5 bedrooms. And that means that with that big variance, we have 2 key opportunities to look at. The first opportunity is for renovation. You can, for example, purchase a property either at medium or below the medium price and do a renovation and bring that property up close to a high-end sort of finish. and you would hope that property then it will be closer to a valuation on the high end of the market. So that means that if you manage the budget well for renovation, there is potential upside here. The other opportunity is for knockdown and rebuild. So new land in the area is pretty much non-existent unless somebody is doing a subdivision. But if you buy a rundown house, let's say you buy an old sort of 3-bedroom house, let's hope below the medium, and let's say you can build a 4 or 5-bedroom house in there, and you spend about $500,000 on it, and you can potentially spend a lot less than the high end of the market is value add. So the big opportunity in Hornsby Heights, it would be for renovation and also for knockdown and rebuild. So there's probably 2 things that you can look at. So now we're going to look at some properties, the exciting bit. Let's have a look at 4 different properties that are available for sale at the moment, and why I believe there is potentially an upside in there, and probably give you some ideas on what to look for if you're looking to purchase a property in the area. So let's dive in. Property number 1, number 5, Inga Road in Hornsby Heights. So application here is flagging 3 key metrics that we should be looking at for an upside. This property is advertised at least 10% below the medium for a 4-bedroom house. So you can hopefully could purchase this property below the medium of a house in the area, and triggers 2 flags because of that price at the moment. So we have a flag for a renovation. So it's something that we were looking at before. So renovation it's a strategy that could work on this property. And the other flag that we can have a look at is a knockdown and rebuild. However, I believe this house is quite solid. Look at the pictures. It looks like a solid brick construction. It just has a bit of an age, has a lot of character. However, has a lot of old sort of fixtures and an old kitchen as well. So there is probably a decent business case in there for renovation. So it's probably something that you should consider. A knock and down rebuild could be on the cards as well. But I think a renovation will be a more economical way of treating this property. What I want to show you here is the land content. So it's a big block of land. I don't think a subdivision is on the cards because you don't really have a way of putting a driveway down to the back. But even a granny flat could be a way of getting an upside out of this property if it's something that appeals to you. So a renovation on the main dwelling, maybe a granny flat at the back. It's something that if you have the budget and the aspirations to do, it's probably something that it's worth considering. Property number 2, 167 Galveston Road in Hornsby Heights. So this property is advertised for 1.6 to 1.675. It has 898 square meters of land, which is quite decent. 5 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 2 car spots. It's picking up on 2 of our filters, at least 10% or more below the median price for a 5-bedroom house in the area. And also it picks up the renovation flag, being a 5 bedrooms. If you can manage renovation in this property, it's probably something that you can make an upside. It's a weatherboard house. It looks to be refreshed, so it has some new paint, an updated kitchen, and also swimming pool, some decent backyard, but it looks like to have a slope towards the back of the block of land. Yeah, it seems to have a bit of a slope. Modern bathrooms, but nothing really flash. We have 2 bedrooms. So we have the master and another bedroom on the bottom, and 3 bedrooms at the top, and also some entertaining area on the bottom, close to the swimming pool. So it looks like it will be challenging to do anything at the back because of the slope of the land. Property number 3, we are looking at the number 153B, Galveston Road in Hornsby Heights. Another weatherboard house. that has 5 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and 4 car spots. Again, it's picking up in 2 of our filters, at least 10% below the medium for a 5-bedroom house, and it's picking up the knockdown and rebuild. And at that price, this probably, sorry, this is an auction coming up. So if you can pick up a property for the guide or close to the guide, there is potential an upside in there to make with a knockdown and rebuild. Renovation is probably also on the card, but it's really up to you how you manage your budget on a purchase like that. So if you look at the residence, again, you have a fairly decent backyard, and you potentially do something with that backyard as well. And here's the configuration with 5 bedrooms, where 3 of them is at the top, and 1 of them is actually on the ground level. And there is a big rumpus on the back in there, which seems to be actually an old garage that has been converted. But I wonder if you could convert that into a granny flat or something along those lines if you're trying to get yield as an investment property, but that's just probably something to consider. Property number 4 now. So let's have a look at number 2, Rove Crescent in Hornsby Heights. So 5 bedroom, 2 bathrooms, 2 car spots in 1,113 square meters. This property has a secondary dwelling, which seems to be a granny flat at the back, and has a potential for subdivision or just keeping that granny flat as a separate rental accommodation. It picks up 2 of our flags. At 1.5 is at least 10% or more below the median for a 5-bedroom house, and he also has a renovation flag. So if you can bring the property value up with a renovation, we can potentially get a better upside in there. So looking at some of the pictures, it looks like to be a solid single level brick house with a fairly extensive backyard, and also seems to have a new carpet, new paint. Not many pictures. Standard kitchen, but I believe that's the granny flat. Yeah, that's where the granny flat is. So very nice and tidy granny flat if you're looking at some additional accommodation. If you do like Hornsby Heights and any of the properties that we have discussed here today, have a look at the description below. You're gonna find a link with each one of those listings for you to have a look in a bit more detail. If you like the content, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so you can continue to see a lot more content like this. Trial our application for free. Knock Knock is below, and you can trial for free, and you can have a look at all the information in there. And subscribe to our newsletter for more information as well on a weekly basis. If you are a serious buyer, make sure that you do your own diligence. Make sure your finance ready and have a good conveyancer solicitor to review the contracts before you can make an offer into the property. Make sure you also organize building and pest inspection. And if you want to do a subdivision or looking to do a granny flat or something that require a little bit more knowledge, get in touch with a really good town planner. That would be my recommendation. Thank you and bye-bye.